of the country against the provisions of the Constitution, you have committed treasonable felonies. You have two types of coups. You have military coup and you have a democratic coup. What we had in Egypt was a military coup. This is a democratic coup, and we should treat it as such. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, talking about Section 11, again, the Constitution is very clever. The Constitution has two provisions for declaration of a state of emergency, Mr. Speaker. Please let me have your ear, Mr. Speaker. The Constitution has two provisions for declaration of a state of emergency. Section 305 deals with executive state of emergency. Section 11, section 4 deals with a legislative state of emergency. That is what that section is. There is a state of emergency that Section 11 has allowed the Legislative House of the National Assembly to declare, and that is what we're doing here today. Let us not make any mistake about it. But more importantly, Mr. Speaker, I want to seize this opportunity to read the provisions of Section 215 of our Constitution. Section 215, subsection 4 of the Constitution. It's very important, Mr. Speaker. It says, subject to the provisions of this section, the governor of a state or such commissioner of the government of the state as he may authorize in that behalf may give to the commissioner of police of that state such lawful direction with respect to the maintenance and securing of public safety and public within the state as he may consider necessary. And the commissioner of police shall comply with these directions or cause them to be complied with. Unfortunately, and this is where you come in, Mr. Speaker, being the chairman of the Constitutional Drafting Committee. Unfortunately, it now gives a proviso, provided that before carrying out any such directions under the foregoing provisions of this subsection, the Commissioner of Police may request that the matter be referred to the President or such minister of the government or the Federation as may be authorized in that behalf by the President of the... Now, that provision negates subsection 4. It gives the governor power and direction as the commander-in-chief of that state to direct the Commissioner of Police on one hand. With the second hand, it takes away that power. Mr. Speaker, I know we have concluded to a large extent the amendment of the Constitution. I will be suggesting, Mr. Speaker, that this proviso be taken out of the Constitution as part of our amendment to allow governors, because there is no point in being a governor of a state or a commander-in-chief without troops. You are a commander-in-chief by name only. That is an unnecessary provision in our Constitution. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I support the motion as ably moved. I support all and I adopt all the arguments of all the other members of the House and the amendments therein. And I will also want to amend at that time to also remove this provision from the Constitution. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Peter Ede.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, when a few days ago I brought a motion of urgent public importance before this honorable House, requesting you to focus your attention on the events in Rivers State, I thank you that you adopted the motion. During the course of the debate, I asked one question. I said, has the Rivers State governor given directives to the Commissioner of Police, and what did he do with the directive? And I answered that question rhetorically. I said, we don't know. Today, the answer has emerged. We know. And I'm going to quote the Commissioner of Police Rivers State himself in order to show that we can now say that we know. Mr. Speaker, if you will permit me, I would like to quote from the press conference granted yesterday by the Commissioner of Police Rivers State. It is published on page 5 of today's Nation and on page 4 of today's This Day. Page 6, sorry. He is quoted to have said the following. The next thing, he says, yesterday in the evening, I received a letter from the clerk of the House of Assembly.
You need your glasses and you are reading. Why don't you wear your glasses to read?
Excuse me?
So proceed now to read.
Yeah. I use it for seeing you, Mr. Speaker, not for reading. I received a letter from the clerk of the House of Assembly through the House leader, Honorable Lloyd Chidi, requesting for police security as the House wanted to resume sitting. Now, this is his own admission of his reaction. He says, I was nonchalant about it because it is unusual for the House to request for police when sitting. In other words, a request was made. Further down the line, Mr. Speaker, he says something else. He said, the next thing, I saw a call from the governor that he was going to the House of Assembly, that his members were not safe. I saw his convoy through my office window going into the House of Assembly. I was told that he was in the chamber where there was fighting with all his aides. Now, the point I'm trying to make, Mr. Speaker, and this was reported verbatim, word for word, line for line by the two newspapers I just quoted. The point I'm trying to make is that it is now clear that the governor made a request and that he was nonchalant. And that, according to him, he just managed to see the governor pass in his convoy through the window of his office. This man was clearly fiddling while Rivers State was on fire. It seems pretty clear to me and to every other reasonable person here, Mr. Speaker, that this one does not deserve that office he is holding. He is trifling with it. And therefore, I would like to support those who have proposed that we should request the Inspector General of Police to cause this man to be transferred. Whether or not the music he is dancing is from somebody else somewhere. He has to uphold the Constitution, he owes a duty to uphold the law. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I also want to draw your attention to an amendment that is right before you there. And I want this House to act in time. Because if 5 people can purport to impeach or to have impeached a speaker in a 32-member assembly, those same people can also purport to have impeached the governor without due recourse to law and to the Constitution. Therefore, to ensure that this scenario doesn't come to play, and I'm going to be prescient about it again as I was last week, because I said that anarchy is bringing Rivers State. Now I'm also saying once again, it seems clear to me that Rivers State is about to witness a horrendous event that may result in something worse than a state of emergency. Therefore, to avert that, I would propose that this House invoke Section 14(1) in its fullness to take Section 11(4) in order for this National Assembly to take over the role and responsibilities and constitutional duties of the Rivers State House of Assembly until such a time that the Rivers State House of Assembly is able to resume its duties. And who will make this possible? It is the police in Rivers State, the Commissioner of Police, the Inspector General of Police, all the security agencies must come together to ensure that the House can meet, the House of Assembly can meet before the House of Reps, the Senate can surrender, honorable colleagues, can surrender once again back to the House of Assembly the duties of legislation, the duties of oversight. Mr. Speaker, if I have your permission, I would like to move that amendment as I gave.
When we get to the amendment stage, my dear colleagues, 18 members have spoken in favor of this motion. Is there any member who wishes to speak against this motion?
Sir.
Yes, Honorable Ken Chikere.